Down into the Lehigh Valley we go here on the campus of Lehigh University in Goodman Stadium for today's Eastern Conference matchup between two of the better reserve clubs in the USL. It's Bethlehem Steel playing host to Orlando City B. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Tyler Terrans joined alongside by Lee Godfrey. And Lee, very intriguing matchup. Two of the better reserve affiliate clubs, whatever you want to call them, in the USL. Lots of talent on display today as we're going to take a look at some of the featured players. And the first one is Albert Dikwa for Orlando. Very dynamic striker up top.
He is a dynamic striker, and they need him to score goals. He debuted in the 74th minute week 1 against the Rowdies. He has 6 appearances with the Cameroon under-20 team.
Albert Dikwa scoring the goal against Charlotte a few weeks ago, and this man, Corey Burke, was absent last week, and Brendan Burke, the manager for Bethlehem, said that he really missed Corey in that game. Adds another dimension to the offensive attack.
Yeah, a little knock to the head, but the Jamaican international with that one goal really playing that attacking midfield position, trying to get the offense going for Bethlehem.
And we'll take a look at the starting lineups presented to you by Lehigh Valley Health Network, and a couple of changes here and there for OCB, and with this ever-changing environment, you know, it's going to be a different lineup week in and week out.
Yeah, one of the keys, though, has been in goal, and Earl Edwards Jr. been fantastic so far, really keeping OCB in games this season.
And we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the host. Sekou Kone, the man up top. But, you know, another interesting piece in goal, John McCarthy, usually the backup for Andre Blake for the first team.
Yeah, lots of changes in goal for Bethlehem. He had a good time in Rochester in 2014. 11 apps for Bethlehem, 5 shutouts last season.
Well, it's certainly going to be a fun day of football here in Bethlehem as the home crowd is ready here on Family Day. It's Bethlehem Steel and OCB when we come back.
You've lived with it for too long. That recurring joint or muscle pain that makes everyday tasks a strain and repetitive movement almost impossible. Why put it off? The sooner you seek treatment, the more options you'll have. The faster you'll be back in full stride. The latest non-surgical solutions. The region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Sara Lee Artisano. It's no ordinary bread. It's born from the question, what's next for sliced bread? And we quickly found the answer was an everyday artisan-style bread with wholesome, rich ingredients, as well as the soft texture you love, cut thick with a dash of flour dusting. Taste firsthand how Artisano turns even the simplest meals you make mouth-wateringly memorable. Sara Lee Artisano Bakery Bread. Make the routine remarkable.
Tickets, visit PhiladelphiaUnion.com.
Can you feel it? That vibe. It's here on America's best beaches. Feel it in unique mashups of amazing, crazy, and wow. So within every moment, you live amplified. St. Pete Clearwater, solar powered and radiating 1,000,000 megawatts of possibility. Dive in deeper at liveamplified.com.
Back here at Goodman Stadium in beautiful Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania for today's match, Bethlehem Steel featuring Orlando City B. Tyler Terrans alongside Lee Godfrey. And we are going to take a look at Bethlehem as they are set to try and get 3 points. They're coming off of a difficult last game as there was another one where it just seemed to slip out of their fingers, and, you know, they are doing a great job in terms of coming back. But talking to Coach Brendan Burke, he said that his team, albeit young, need to do a better job of starting games.
Yeah, unfortunate 3-2 loss there against Harrisburg City Islanders, the same team that Orlando City B played last, in fact, and Orlando City almost lost that game as well. It was a late goal by Zach Carroll, who's getting the start at center back today, and giving them that 1-1 draw and earning a point on the road, this being their last of 3 games on the road. So trying to get something here on the road is always good as a coach, to try to get something to try to move up the standings.
Well, while both of these teams are technically reserve, affiliate, whatever you want to call them, they do have very different looks Bethlehem have a ton of young players. I mean, the average age sometimes is 18, 19 years old of any given game that they play. And Orlando on the other side, while they have a similar system in terms of always bringing players up and down, they do have a bit more experience, guys who have been in the league for a little bit. And it seems like with Bethlehem, every game is a milestone for another young player, either scoring their first career goal, getting their first career start. So it's interesting to see two teams who, you know, it's the underbelly of their first team, albeit the Union for Bethlehem or Orlando City for the first team. And it's just interesting to see these two styles going to contrast.
Yeah, it's a totally different scenario, isn't it, for those clubs that aren't affiliated with Major League Soccer franchises and what they're trying to do here. Both coaches still trying to have a winning mentality and going out and doing their best, but they also have to realize the end goal, which is to build that product for the first team in Major League Soccer.
Well, we are underway here at Goodman Stadium. Bethlehem and Orlando City beat to fight for the right for 3 points this afternoon. Beautiful Sunday afternoon here in Lehigh Valley, around 55 degrees. Sun is shining as OCB starting out with a little bit of possession, again coming off that draw against Harrisburg City a few days ago. It's been 3 games in 9 days for OCB as Corey Burke going to get called for the foul. It's very aggressive Jamaican international Corey Burke, and we were talking a little bit earlier during the pregame lead, just in terms of, you know, the physical presence that Corey brings, and with the pace that Sekou Kone has up top, Corey sort of slides in behind him as that number 10 role and just does a great job of holding up the ball and connecting play up front.
Yeah, he does, and so good to have him back in that starting 11 tonight. A big difference maker. You need a type of player that can play that role very well, like you said, in the number 10, either be able to hold the ball himself and have opportunities on goal, or to be able to push it out wide and use those flanks to get balls into the box.
Certainly a young squad up top for Brendan Burke, who is in his second season with Bethlehem, only his second year of in existence for the Bethlehem Steel. Both of these teams just 2 years into their initial USL coordination, I guess, if you want to call it, and it's certainly interesting to see how both coaches handle it. You made the point, Lee, about how, you know, it's not necessarily about results for these clubs. You know, they are tailoring to what the first team needs, and it's interesting, like you said, to see how it differs from this team, and for a team that you do color commentary for, the Tampa Bay Rowdies, just how different of a schedule they have, the different agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did the preseason games with Orlando City B in Bradenton, Florida this year, and talked to Anthony Poulos
as the offsides flag is up on the far side
about that challenge of being an affiliated club. And Anthony Poulos, in his second year, I asked him what did he learn and what can he do as a coach moving forward, and he said, not get frustrated about the things I can't control. And I think that really got to him last year in his role, because he wants to win, he wants to be out there and push all the time, but not necessarily know that that is the end goal. So keep the things that you can control with the players that you have on your team at this time, and do the best that you can.
Anthony Poulos, of course, the son of West Bromwich Albion manager Tony Poulos. West Brom right now having a very solid season in the Premier League, sitting around right 8th or 9th. It's been a fantastic day of football just on this specific Sunday. We've had Man United, Liverpool all in action, the FA Cup semifinal, El Clasico today as well. So just a dizzying day of football, as well as Orlando City first team just picked up 3 points, a big 3 points against a very solid NYCFC squad. Kyle Aaron getting both goals and finishing in 90 minutes. 2-1 win for the first team. And I'd be interesting to see, you know, it's obviously tough to do any sort of study on the relationship between the USL team, foreign affiliate team, and the first team, and how the success at either level can affect either team. But it would definitely be interesting to see how those two might affect each other as Orlando City picks the ball up in a dangerous area and it goes out wide.
You see New York Red Bull 2 winning the league last year, and their parent club not doing too bad. They did qualify for the playoffs. They did get beat out in the playoffs, but still, you know, when you got both of your teams firing on both cylinders like that, doing well at both levels, to be able to look down at your USL club, to be able to call and bring players up if need be due to injury, suspensions, what have you, certainly a good year all around for the New York Red Bulls.
And on the other side of the spectrum, you have Philadelphia and Bethlehem. Philadelphia have yet to pick up 3 points this season yet, and you see how much difference there is in the lineup for Bethlehem week in and week out. You know, Jack Elliott was starting for Bethlehem a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden is starting and having to deal with David Villa, who's scoring a goal from 55 yards out, as I'm sure all of you have seen all over the internet. But it's just so interesting how this league works, and how with the USL now being in the second division, how it's going to operate. And when I asked Brendan Burke about the thought process of these reserve teams when the USL 3rd Division does come into play, the idea of them playing there, and he shrugged it off. He said he appreciates the thought process, but, you know, you take a look at a Bethlehem team who beat Cincinnati a couple weeks ago, and then doesn't have necessarily a great game over the past 2, but for their players to be able to get that type of experience for a club that's looking to make the jump into the MLS, that have world-class talent, you can't substitute that experience at the 3rd Division. So Brendan Burke, you know, appreciating the thought process, but not necessarily agreeing with the fact that when the 3rd Division does come into play, that's where they should be playing.
Yeah, I think that as a competitor, they always want to be playing at maybe higher talent, those non-affiliated clubs. You want to push your team to the most because, yeah, you might not get the results, but in the end, that is going to help each of those players on the team.
As OCB starting to put their foot on the gas a little bit, trying to find Dikwa in the channels. Alba Dikwa scored the goal against Charlotte Independence a few weeks ago, the equalizer. It ended up finishing as a draw, and he's going to be looking to combine with here De Silva up top. De Silva leading the USL in assists with 4 at the moment. As OCB lining up for the long throw-in, there you see Kevin Alston, regular member of the first team, as the throw-in does get deep. And there's a strong header from Hugh Roberts.
Yeah, Hugh Roberts and Austin Trusty will have their hands full at the center back position tonight, trying to deal with De Silva and Dikwa.
This one sent towards Kone. Zach Carroll.
Interesting to see in these opening minutes of this game how these teams are going to defend one another. If they're going to be playing a high line and trying to push forward, or if they're going to sit back a little bit and try to keep teams out wide.
Well, OCB will be playing sort of that 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. You know, it really just depends on how it shakes out. It can look like either one throughout the course of the game. Both teams electing to go with the lone striker up top, and you know, it makes it easier on the back line, but it also does provide just a lot more numbers in the middle of the field. Just both teams obviously going to just try to possess.
Yeah, and Orlando City B with this 3rd of 3 road games, they're going to want to protect quite a bit as well. They're not going to want to leave themselves too open at the back. I see them defending quite a bit and making sure that they don't let anything into the middle of the box and really try to grab something on the counterattack. And like I said, you're always happy with a point on the road, win your home games, and you're going to be in good shape as far as trying to qualify for the playoffs.
As Larea getting tripped up, and it'll be a set piece for OCB. It's been a long road trip for Orlando City as they've had 3 games in the past 9 days. They'll be playing home next against St. Louis on Thursday, and then they'll have a bye week after that, and then they'll take on Cincinnati. But this has really been a grueling start to the season, and the schedule really hasn't been doing Anthony Poulos any favors at the beginning of the season. This is Orlando City B's 7th game of the season, just Bethlehem's 4th, so you can see sort of the disparity in how the schedule's worked out in the beginning of the season. Obviously, all teams will be playing 30 games at the end of the season, but it's really been difficult for Orlando City in the opening moments as their only 3 points have come against TFC2, and that was with the help of Haji Berry, who ended up getting a brace in that game. But again, it just goes back to that concept of players constantly moving up and down.
Yeah, still so early for them right now. Bethlehem on 4 points on the season. Goal differential puts them in second last. The Ottawa Fury is still down at the bottom of the table, but both only 4 games played. And you look at, yeah, Orlando City B already with 7 on the board, the most played so far in the United Soccer League.
And the last time these 2 team plays, it was here in Goodman Stadium, as it was OCB who came away with a 2-0 win, actually completely eliminating Bethlehem for any sort of postseason appearance. And it's certainly something that Bethlehem has not forgotten as they're looking to get revenge against a team that more or less ended their season. A number of things had to happen if Bethlehem were to get the result, but the Steel maybe got a little bit fatigued at the end of the 2016 campaign, as we are going to have a foul going the other way. The referee playing advantage to begin with and now calling it back. And Bethlehem went the last 12 games of the season without 3 points. So, you know, if they get 2 or 3 wins, they're probably in the postseason. But again, it just goes back to how many young players are in this Brendan Burke squad, and he's so patient with his team. You know, talking to him on the phone, and he just seems to have such a good attitude about the entire thing, and that this is, you know, a team effort between the Union as well as Bethlehem. As we take another look at that foul, and OCB will maintain possession.
Yeah, a little bit of studs up there in the back of the tendon, and the referee makes that call early on here. We'll have a talking to, and probably the second time you'll see a booking.
Neal getting up for the header, and now here's Zach Carroll. Most recently seen with New York Red Bulls too, the USL 2016 Cup champions. Carroll scoring that late equalizer in stoppage time against Harrisburg City to earn themselves a point on the road, and that's really what you want to try to do when you're on the road, Lee, especially when you're on a 3-game road trip like this, is to just salvage a point if you can, because you know that in a week or two you're going to be back home, and those are the games where you really need to go out and get 3 points.
Yeah, when you're at your home ground in front of your home fans, that's what's all important. You don't want to be dropping points at home. So many teams, you know, that's where a season is lost. You know, if you can do well and even get points in half of your games on the road, but you take care of business at home in this league with the top 8 qualifying for the postseason, that should be attainable.
Nice little 1-2 touch football here from OCB. An opportunity here as it's Martz sending it towards the back post. But the chance goes by the wayside. It'll be a goal kick coming for McCarthy.
And some good defending there on that back post by Aaron Jones, the great Yarmouth, England native, not allowing anyone from OCB to get on the back of that one.
And you can see John McCarthy sporting that headgear. He was out for the past couple of weeks with a concussion, obviously taking precautionary measures here. He usually is the backup for Andre Blake with the Philadelphia Union first team, but obviously they want to get him some minutes after coming off that concussion, and it's really been a revolving door at a lot of positions, but especially at the goalkeeper position. You had Thomas Romero a couple weeks ago, 16 years old, youngest player ever to start in the USL. And then you had Jake McGuire making his pro debut. He played a phenomenal game against Cincinnati, and now you have a third goalkeeper for Bethlehem, albeit a little bit more experienced one, with McCarthy, who is all A-10 selection with LaSalle, as well as goalkeeper of the year with the Rochester Rhinos, as well as rookie of the year. As Epps getting to the byline, trying to square it back across. Carroll is there, still bouncing around, and now Carroll clearing it out, but a dangerous opportunity as Epps was making things happen along the byline.
Yeah, good job by Epps, and a little bit of miscommunication there by that back line of Orlando City B, and that former USF Bull almost had a goal here early in the 12th minute of play.
First real opportunity for Bethlehem. Doesn't necessarily come to a shot, but neither team with too much to write home about just yet, as we're still trying to get a feel for exactly what this game might bring. Just 12 minutes in, Tyler Turns alongside Lee Godfrey. Thanks for joining us on a beautiful Sunday afternoon.
So far, pretty evenly matched game so far in the first 12 minutes. Orlando City B's done a nice job being on the road, coming out and playing strong. Normally teams are weathering that storm of the home team coming out with a lot of intensity. Adrenaline is rushing normally in the first 10-15 minutes of a match. Then it settles in where both teams can figure out what's going on. But certainly in the opening moments of this game, it's been a pretty good back and forth encounter.
And Sekou Kone getting a stern talking to from the referee, Henrik Carlson, in charge of all the big decisions in the middle of the pitch today. Kone getting called for that high foot, and Sekou Kone really is the beating heart and soul of this Bethlehem team, and they've been without one of their main players who has been absent, and that's Chambers, who's really been missed. And Brendan Burke talked about how he is the heart and soul of this team, but he's so pleased with the way that Sekou Kone, only 21 years of age, has stepped into such a big leadership role, obviously leading with his vocal and with his presence, but leading with goals as well.
Yeah, he's a big guy out there. He's strong. He's built well for that forward position, and he's going to be a handful for center backs in this league, and probably not too long before you see him on a full-time basis getting called up to the big club. But certainly Zach Carroll and Timbo, the center backs for OCB, are going to have to watch him very carefully this afternoon.
Referee electing to play on. Goes through for Larea. Larea still with it. Rocha losing possession in the middle of the field. It's Adam Najim coming away with it. Long ball sent ahead, intended for Kone. Mishandled by the defender, and Kone still in neighborhood. Kone losing his footing a little bit. And it's Tembo who comes away with it. Neat footwork there, and now there finally will be a foul called as Pierre Da Silva was wreaking havoc on the right side for Bethlehem. But Pierre Da Silva, one of the more dynamic players in the USL, and you see the foul there from Aaron Jones.
Yeah, they were waiting for that call for quite a while. You could hear them on the bench as he was being held back, and finally Aaron Jones wrapped him up enough that the foul goes against Bethlehem.
Well, you see a lot of players go down after that initial contact, but Da Silva did something that we usually don't see in the sport, and that's stay on your feet after you do get hit, and that's why the call came a little bit late. Here's Dikwa.
And it's still a foul. That's the funny thing,
Absolutely,
right? You
yes.
should have been called earlier. You know, it's an old hockey saying, you don't stop until the whistle is blown, but sometimes you don't get the call if you do keep going, especially in this sport. The moment you feel contact, you know, a lot of players around the world, especially in South America, are taught you go down right away. You have to make sure the referee knows that you've been touched.
Another long throw-in opportunity for OCB right in front of the Forge, the fantastic support group and the East End Army here in Bethlehem. Intended for Dikwa. Up strong was Roberts, and the header always going wide.
It might be difficult today if there's something that happens in the box. The way the lines are painted here for the soccer in that orange, it's very difficult to see, at least for us. And I wonder if it's the same for a referee, if the foul does take place inside that 18, if they'll be able to make a clear-cut call if anything is just in that borderline area.
Goodman Stadium here on Lehigh University campus, also home to the main home, I should say, of the Lehigh University Mountain Hawk football team. Kind enough to share this beautiful venue with the Bethlehem Steel. Wijnaldum. The referee Carlson just having a word with Tony Rocha, 23-year-old from Spring, Texas.
Brendan Burke does have to be positive, even though it's early in the season. They find themselves at the bottom of the table, especially, you know, with their one win, who it did come against this year. You're beating a team like Cincinnati. The Tampa Bay Rowdies end up losing, and there's a club that's shooting for not only playoffs but a championship, and the money that's spent to be able to say that their 3 points so far this year and that win come against a team like Cincinnati. You can take all the positives away and build on something like that.
Here's March trying to get away from Burke, but a tall task at that. Good challenge. Falls to the feet of Wijnaldum. A little bit away from home in his position at left back. Aaron Jones finding Kone, getting around the first defender and drawing the foul, as Kevin Alston couldn't stay in front of Kone, who had some neat footwork.
And that's what he'll do all game. He's a tough customer to deal with, and that's what you want, to be able to have fouls in these important areas. And there you see there, just pushed right over. An easy call for the official here, and now a free kick in a good area for Bethlehem.
Certainly a lot of big bodies to deal with if you're on the OCB side of things. First real opportunity for Bethlehem. It's a good ball in. Epps is there, as well as Timbo, who gets the initial clearance. Najim trying to fight for the ball, but coming away with it is Larea, and he is fouled. Good work from Larea, and OCB looking to operate quickly. Ball sent ahead for Mart, skipping away from the first defender. Off comes his line is McCarthy, and doing his best Manuel Neuer impression, and coming off his line and playing in that sweeper keeper role.
Good job there by McCarthy to be able to know that he has to come out and come off of his line there to be able to clear that one out of danger. And that's what Bethlehem have to be wary about, is after those set pieces, is the pace of Orlando City B coming up the pitch on the counterattack.
Alston sending it towards the area of Martz. Wijnaldum is there, but Martz gets there first. And it's Martz who ends up getting called for the foul. Good defensive work from Wijnaldum, who is the younger brother of Georgino Wijnaldum of Liverpool, who suffered a brutal 2-1 loss to Crystal Palace this afternoon.
Crystal Palace has surprised a lot of teams this year.
Absolutely.
They can't be taken lightly.
Well, also any team outside of the top 5 is also Liverpool's kryptonite this year, it seems like. Marcus Epps trying to find Kone. Burke finding Najim, trying to slip it back for Burke. Here is Corey Burke, and there is a great save from Edwards Jr. It'll be a corner for Bethlehem, but Edwards Jr. up to the task as Burke had a beat on goal.
Corey Burke's going to be disappointed. Great little 1-2 there, and he's found himself wide open. Maybe waited just a little bit too long to pull that trigger, and Edwards is able to come out, close that space, and make the save.
Well, it was a great pass from Najib, and Earl Edwards Jr. closing down the angle very quickly. 3rd in the USL in saves this season, one of the better goalkeepers in this league. As Jones sends it right into the neighborhood of Edwards Jr., and he collects it. And the man who stopped the goal will be able to push his team up. And that's the secondary combination that Brendan Burke was talking about, that just Corey obviously brings up a different level of offensive attack, I guess, to this Bethlehem team. Everybody's going to key in on Kone, and Najim is usually the orchestrator. And just to be able to have Kone and Burke paired with Epps, I mean, the pace, the size, the strength, you know, it just really bodes well for a Bethlehem team who has done well scoring goals, but it's just keeping out of the back of the net that sort of bit them in the rear end in the early portion of the season.
Yeah, finishing is so important in this league. Generating chances, a coach is always going to be happy when you say, yeah, we didn't score, but we generated a lot. I can take some positives out of the game, but that's the difference between being good and being very good, is that finishing quality in that final third to be able to put that ball in the back of the net.
Bethlehem turning OCB over in the middle of the pitch. Eric Jones out wide for Aaron Jones. With the service at the back post was Epps. He took it on the first time volley. And it was out of bounds, so we are going to have a corner. Good play from Bethlehem as they're starting to knock on the door.
Yeah, they are. They're starting to spread out Orlando a little bit, using the width of the pitch and swinging balls into the box. And if they're not doing that, they're putting in some good little 1-2s, keeping the ball on the ground and really spreading out that back 4 of OCB.
England native Aaron Jones on top of the corner as it doesn't get past the first defender, and OCB looking to counter on the other end. And Bethlehem are going to be called for the foul, and this Bethlehem team does a good job, like you said, Lee, of just mixing it up in terms of, you know, 1-2s inside the box, tight little interplay, as well as early services. It's just asking a lot of questions of the back line and asking them to deal with different situations each time the Bethlehem has the ball. As we are going to play on, Sekou Kone in on goal, and there's another stop from Edwards Jr., denying both Kone and Burke now of clear-cut chances. It's still 0-0.
It looks like Burke was taken out and almost both teams stopped waiting for the referee to make a call. It never came. The whistle was never blown, and Kone gets that ball, but Edwards again coming out and making himself big here. As what an opportunity, as Bethlehem seems to be coming on a lot more. You see everybody down, and there's Kone coming in, but you see how far that Edwards comes out, about 8 yards, a couple yards over the 6, makes himself big, and another great opportunity by Bethlehem, but the door was shut by Edwards.
We mentioned before, Earl Edwards Jr., one of the leading goalkeepers in the USL, 3rd in saves right now. He may be 2nd with the amount of saves that he's made just 23 minutes in. But here's OCB looking to come on the other end, as Bethlehem has certainly had the better of the play for the last 5-10 minutes. Derek Jones coming back to break things up, but in the area is Martz. Dikwa back for Martz again. Off his line is McCarthy, but it's on the wrong side of the netting. Maybe fooling some of you at home, as well as my broadcast partner, Godfrey, thought it was in for a brief moment.
Yeah, a little communication breakdown there. Bethlehem definitely had the opportunity to be able to clear that one out, and they don't. And it's that close for OCB, despite the fact that they really haven't had much offensively as far as chances on McCarthy. But that's sometimes the way it goes. Just, you know, playing well and trying to not allow yourself to concede and just get something quickly on the counterattack.
This one sent all the way back towards McCarthy. It was a intentional pass backwards, so McCarthy could not pick it up with his feet and had to take the easy route out. And it's become such a, you know, contrast of thought whether or not teams should be playing more possession-based. You know, when Spain went on that run to win the Euros as well as the World Cup, you know, tiki-taka football was all the buzz around the world of soccer. As here's another good opportunity for OCB. It will be a corner, and now you have a team like Leicester, who wins the EPL last year, who were playing strictly a counter-attack based style of football, and you see the different styles around the league, and you see dividends paying for one, and sometimes you get bit in the butt by the other. I don't know what your preferred style is, but we've seen both in this league, and we've seen how it can hurt you in some ways and help you.
Well, last night, the game I worked at Al Lang Stadium in Tampa Bay in St. Petersburg.
And here is Carroll with the shot. It's deflected in front. As there was a good opportunity for Zach Carroll. It will be a throw-in for OCB, but that was definitely an opportunity that Carroll would like to have back. He's coming off his first professional goal with the equalizer against Harrisburg City, as we'll take another look.
Good little pass there to the outside to open it up. That's the earlier opportunity of the side netting.
Here's another service, and McCarthy able to handle this one relatively cleanly.
Going back to that point, Charleston Battery only had 30% of possession. I think you do whatever you have to do to win. Go into a scenario and they know that the Rowdies were going to have the majority possession. And you're right about that ticky-tacky play, and that's what the Rowdies do a lot, passing outside of the box and not sending enough balls in. And so the Battery just put people behind the ball. It reminds me of Celtic versus Barcelona a couple of years back in the Champions League, and that Celtic played it perfectly. They got outplayed completely. Barcelona wouldn't do anything to get the ball inside the box. They just put numbers behind and were able to defend the entire game and get a huge victory at Celtic Park against Barcelona, which no one expected. So I think it's a strategy for sure. And sometimes, yeah, possession, it doesn't mean a thing if that's the way you're actually going into a game, looking to defend and just nick one on the counterattack.
And sometimes it's an adjustment that managers will need to make as the season goes on, as the game goes on, just because of the way that a match will provide itself, as it looks like Alston might have pulled up and pulled something as well, as Bethlehem going to play the ball out and show some good gamesmanship here, bringing the physio onto the field. But, you know, going back to your point, it's something that maybe managers just need to be a little bit more wary of. You know, the St. Louis game that I did last night, it was, you know, St. Louis had almost 70% of possession. Independence had 2 or 3 chances maybe, and ended up winning the game 2-1 just based off those chances. So it really is interesting to see which coaches take on which style of play, and, you know, it almost depends on what your personnel looks like.
Yeah, who do you have? What sort of players do you have up top? Is your main forward, is he a fast person that can move left and right and be able to make plays himself with the ball, or is he just a tall target man that you're just trying to get service to, and if you don't provide him service, they could go without seeing him an entire game? You know, definitely you have to play into those players that you have when you're thinking about a style that you're going to play. If you're going to play just the one guy up top, or if you're going to play a traditional 4-4-2, you know, or a diamond, depending on you know, the players you have and the type of pitch that you have as well. Are you playing on turf? Is the ball going to bounce a lot? How wide is your field? The Tampa Bay Rowdies 2 years ago made their pitch a good 7-8 yards wider. They wanted to be able to use the width. They want to be able to spread teams out, and that's not the case in Louisville, where it's a tiny place to play, very narrow, and there's a lot of traffic in there. The players are in tight circumstances, so that changes the game as well.
This one brought down for Epps. Epps one-on-one with Carroll. Epps with the shot. It's off the face of Timbo. And Herbert is not able to get there, as it looked like it might have taken another deflection. although it will be a corner for Bethlehem. And Bethlehem seems to be one of those teams that just likes to counter on the other end. I mean, OCB trying to play possession, but Bethlehem breaking play up in the middle of the field and just looking to send Corey Burke, Marcus Epps, and Sekou Kone the other way. Aaron Jones on top of the corner, doesn't get past the first defender yet again.
And they just seem to be a step away from finding that first goal. I think if they continue to play this way and don't give something up defensively, if they continue getting these opportunities going forward, there's going to have to be at least one that gets by Earl Edwards Jr.
Well, he's certainly been in fantastic form this afternoon in the opening half an hour, as he's had two clear-cut chances come right at him and shutting the door on both Sekou Kone and Corey Burke. As Earl Edwards Jr. in one of better forms in his career. 25 years old, from San Diego, California, was the 43rd pick a couple years ago in the MLS Super Draft. Has not made an MLS appearance just yet, but I mean, he has been spectacular, although Joe Bendig for the first team for Orlando City has also been a phenomenal goalkeeper as well.
Yeah, I know Joe Bendig well from my days in Toronto, where he was a starting goalkeeper with Toronto FC. Both him and Stuart Kerr came down. He was the goalkeeping coach, who's now moved on to Vancouver when Jason Christ came in to take over the head coaching position in Orlando, bringing in his own player. But Bendik is a good keeper, and his attitude is so good. He's a big, hulking person too that has some good movement. So, you know, I'm assuming, you know, he's going to be around for a bit, but you never know when that injury is going to come and get that call.
Here's Bethlehem looking to come the other way. Corey Burke in hot pursuit of Carroll. Carroll asking Edwards Jr. to come off his line, and finally he does. A little bit of miscommunication there between the center back and goalkeeper.
Yeah, Edwards Jr., good career, like you said. UCLA, 61 appearances, 19 shutouts. So a great collegiate career, and that caught the eye of Orlando City in the MLS Super Draft.
Herbert's dispossessed as Dikwu comes away with it. Sprayed out wide for Martz. Does have an overlapping run coming. Back for Rocha. Slipping through for Dikwa. Dikwa turning, trying to get rid of Austin Trusty, who is a stingy defender. And Trusty forcing a turnover.
And Dikwa there, I think, just trying to do a little bit too much by himself. He's got some good fancy feet, 1v1 he's normally good on, but you hold on to it too often and you get a number of Bethlehem players closing him down to force the turnover.
And we mentioned Kevin Alston earlier, who pulled up, might have pulled a groin or quad or what have you, and now the opportunity for a substitute to come on. It looks like there is a sub ready to come on, and we'll have the name of that young man when we get further information, as this one slipped across. That did take a deflection. And it looks like it's going to be Scott Thompson, a New Jersey native, coming in to replace Kevin Alston, as we'll take another look at this opportunity as Herbers was trying to slide it behind that last defender, Carroll, for Kone. But a good job from the Orlando City line to deny the service. It will be a corner for Bethlehem. As Scott Thompson just announced. So Kevin Alston's day is done just after half an hour of football after pulling up with an injury. Jones with the service, and there is Corey Burke. But there is Edwards Jr. as well, who's been there to shut the door on the Bethlehem Strikers thus far. And we'll take another look at the opportunity.
Good job here by Corey Burke to push off. He gets up. He needs to get over top of that ball a little bit more and try to get it down into the ground, make it a difficult ball for Edwards, but he's just a little bit underneath that one, and Edwards is able to get that one no problem.
Derek Jones picking up the loose pieces, looking to take Route 1 the other way. Sekou Kone again giving Carroll all that he can handle. Carroll still with some work to do, uses Timbo. And Timbo will send it the other way.
Well, so far we've seen with Kone and Burke, Burke really not playing. You're calling him that attacking mid, but he might as well be up there playing a forward position as well. He is right up in that play. Might be leaving a little bit of space for OCB in the midfield on a counterattack, but so far Bethlehem has dealt with it fine.
Wijnaldum with a little bit of a late challenge there, nicking Pierre Da Silva, who seems to be okay. And it's at Da Silva's feet now, finding the overlapping Thompson, who's just checked into the game for Alston. Thompson with the early service, and there is McCarthy. But a good first touch of the ball for Scott Thompson, who recently checked into the game for the injured Kevin Alston.
Oh, good ball there. Good job by McCarthy. Almost a little bit of miscommunication with that last defender back. McCarthy's got to make his voice clear that he has that ball and doesn't need to be cleared over the bar for a corner kick.
Fabian Herbers, player fouled on that most recent occasion. Here the crowd might picking up somebody on the OCB side of things saying let them have that, obviously referring to Bethlehem just allowing to be able to possess the ball on their own back line, and OCB having that pay dividends as Bethlehem turn it right over. Dangerous ball in the middle of the field, and it's picked off by Herbers. Here's Edwards Jr. off his line. He makes the initial save. Herbers goes down. The referee says play on. Controversial moment here in the 36th minute as Herbers seemed to get around Edwards Jr., who got a piece of the ball, but Lee, he did get a piece of Herbers, who would have been able to pick up the second ball.
Yeah, let's have a look at this here. Great run. Oh, I think the referee's got that wrong. Did he get the ball? Because he's tripped him. I think that that's a penalty kick. Very tough call there as Edwards comes out and slides into it. Definite contact there. And I guess in the eyes of the referee, the ball was cleared away first and the contact came secondary. Very, very close call for Orlando City B here.
Well, that's now 3 occasions that Edwards Jr. has been alone by himself responsible for keeping the ball out of the net, and each of the 3 times has been up to the task. This one by far the most controversial, as like you said, Lee, I mean, even though the fact that Herbers had the ball taken away from him by Edwards on that initial challenge, he was still able to get the second ball, and Edwards tripped him up on that fact, and I think that that negates the fact that Edwards Jr. touched the ball first.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure. It's a difficult call. It happened so fast in the eyes of the referee, but certainly Bethlehem Steel are going to think that they've been hard done by here in the first half when they've really started to take the play now.
As you see, Herbers is asking for possibly some sort of discipline for the previous foul.
Yeah, Herbers a little bit frustrated now, I think. He was a 6th overall pick in the 2016 Super Draft, the German. 32 appearances and 3 goals with the Philadelphia Union.
Well, it's another set piece for Bethlehem, who really have had the majority of the more solid chances in this match so far. And it is Richie Larea who gets the yellow card for OCB, so the first discipline of the match. Ball towards the back post, and it was Wijnaldum, who, or rather Austin Trusty, who looked like he got a shoulder to it, as Edwards Jr. encouraging his team to counter. Hayden going all the way back, and there's a bit of a miscue from Edwards Jr. Falls to the feet of the German Herbers. Herbers trying to square it back across, and him and Kone just not exactly on the same wavelength there. It's another giveaway though. Burke around the first defender. Corey Burke with the strike. It's off of an OCB player, And it's another Bethlehem corner. OCB have been very careless with the ball in the back.
They have. That's a good 3 or 4 giveaways in a row by OCB, and it all started with Edwards Jr. placing a good ball out to get them going on the counterattack, and they just started working their way back down the wrong way of the pitch. And here you see here one of those turnovers and just deflecting off a member of OCB for yet another corner kick for Bethlehem City, or Bethlehem Steel, sorry.
Bethlehem certainly had their fair share of corners in the first half, but the delivery has not been quite what they would like it to be. Corey Burke has had one opportunity, but it was right into the hands of Edwards Jr. Can they convert just a few minutes before the halftime whistle? It's a lofted ball towards the back post. Here's Derek Jones, the first ever signing in the history of Bethlehem. And there was Hugh Roberts, who was waiting for it. He may have been offsides if he did touch it, but nevertheless, it'll be a goal kick coming for Edwards Jr., who continues to get by the skin of his teeth in the opening half.
Oh, this has been a theme, I think, for Orlando City B this season, the fact that Edwards Jr. has kept them in games. We've seen some poor giveaways and turnovers by OCB in this first half so far, and really it has been Edwards Jr. that has saved them. This could be a 2-0 game right now if the finishing was just a little bit better by Bethlehem.
Well, this is the third game in 9 days for OCB, so perhaps fatigue and maybe just mental errors coming into play here, as they've been very careless at the back. They've looked dangerous when they have been going forward, but they really haven't had all that much of the ball, as Bethlehem has done a great job of disrupting play in the middle of the field, as Sekou Kone fouled, and explaining to the referee, Henrik Carlson, that that's about the 3rd or 4th time that he's been fouled by that particular player.
Yeah, De Silva with that foul, and you know what? There was no danger there in that area. Their back was to the ball, and Bethlehem really wasn't going anywhere in that time. So to foul in that position, it's a careless one there, because now you have set up this free kick when there really was no danger, and now you've given Bethlehem a set piece and another opportunity to try to get one here late in this first half of play.
Aaron Jones on it again. It's flicked on. The second ball is there, but it looks like we do have a foul beforehand. Just a few minutes away from the 45th minute, and maybe a couple of minutes of stoppage time, and although it has been a relatively clean game thus far. No goals, no injuries, with the exception of Kevin Alston, who really just pulled up and essentially took himself out of the game. There wasn't really any messing around about it, as Scott Thompson came in around the 31st minute. Falls to Najim, trying to find Herbers. It's a spectacular ball. Here is the German Herbers, cutting it back to his left. Still Herbers, finding Najim. And Najim leaning back, sending the ball all the way back here at Goodman Stadium. And another opportunity for Bethlehem on the counterattack that does not result in a goal just yet.
Yeah, the first ball was just a great ball forward up that right-hand side to Herbers. A good job and a good cutback there, and unfortunately for Najim, he just gets underneath that one. I don't know if he may have had time to bring that down or not, but he took it on the volley right away and gets underneath that one and puts it well over the bar.
Thompson giving chase, and ball probably netting only about 5 or 10 yards on the clearance. Nice play here from Aaron Jones to elude the tackle. Forward for Herbers. Herbers is a regular member of the first team, but seeing some minutes with the Bethlehem Steel on this Sunday afternoon. He's been active for manager Brendan Burke thus far. Edwards Jr. has been up to the task every time a Bethlehem Steel member has been in on goal. Wijnaldum. And this OCB team does look like they've run out of gas a little bit here on the tail end of this road trip. Their first touch is constantly letting them down. Mental mistakes at the back. I mean, it certainly does take a toll when you're away from home for that long and playing against quality opponents week in and week out. Wijnaldum twists and turns and finally winning a corner kick. 44th minute. Still tied at 0-0. A couple of big opportunities for Sekou Kone and Burke, and possibly a missed penalty call by the referee Henrik Karlsson, but Edwards Jr. has done a great job to keep it 0-0 at the moment. Not the only time he's kept his team in a game thus far. Jones with the corner, and there's Edwards Jr. to collect, and we're being told now by the fourth official we will have 2 minutes of stoppage time in the second half, so we'll end the first half at around the 47-minute mark.
Yeah, Tyler, you're right, though, about OCB looking a little gassed right now, and you really do see it, I think, when Bethlehem has possession in the midfield. They're just not closing them down enough. They have 4 or 5 feet of space every time to be able to move that ball up the pitch. They need to be able to press a little further. The moment there's a pass by Bethlehem, they have to be closing down that player immediately and making him make a move to try to cause a turnover. But right now, just too much time on the ball, so they're able to move that ball throughout the midfield and create some opportunity in the final third. And as I say that, a rare opportunity here now. We haven't seen too many either free kicks or corners for OCB in this first 45 minutes.
Well, wouldn't this be a backbreaker for Bethlehem with the amount of opportunities that they've had if OCB could somehow convert on this corner right before the half? Austin Martz is on it. East End Army hoping for a clean sheet at this point at the end of the first 45 minutes. It's a good ball from Martz. McCarthy off his line, and McCarthy claims it.
Good confidence there by McCarthy. He was dealing with a couple of players right in front of him on the line just to be able to push them off and be able to come out of his line and gather that one up.
Wijnaldum returns it for Epps. Epps has 2 OCB defenders to deal with. Finding Herbers as he was trying to slip it through for Wijnaldum, but first touch letting him down, and it will be a foul on Austin Trusty, who looks like he is going to go into the book for that. And Austin Trusty asking the referee how, as possibly making the case that that was only his first or second offense, as Austin Trusty does go into the book at stoppage time at the end of the first half.
Yeah, I think he's had enough warning people now. The first few minutes of that game you're going to get to talk to, but now that we're right into it, I think he's going to make that call. So you have to be disciplined out there now at this point of the game.
A yellow card has been issued to Bethlehem Steel's number 26, Austin Trusty. Card has been issued in the 45th minute.
Austin Trusty has been one of the more steady pieces of this Bethlehem team, if you can believe that that word steady can be used with this lineup. But Austin, along with Wijnaldum, have really been 2 of the mainstays on the back line for Bethlehem. They've had a center back in Jack Elliott go up and get some minutes with Philadelphia Union as the first half comes to a conclusion. We end the first half the way that we started the game at 0-0. Earl Edwards Jr. rather, doing a fantastic job of keeping OCB in the game, denying Kone and Burke, who are right on the doorstep, but slamming the door shut. As the East End Army don't have a whole lot to cheer about at the moment. Their team has been on the front foot, but we'll be back with halftime stats and oh so much more when we come back.
Make it iced, then make it happen with flavors like butter pecan or new coconut cream pie. It's America's iced coffee. Whenever, wherever. America runs on Dunkin'.
No lengthy disclaimers with paragraphs of fine print here. Just honest pricing. 25 megabit per second high-speed internet and economy cable with over 85 channels. Only $49.99 per month. No contract, no modem rental fees, no data caps, free DTA. Take the game and Service Electric with you on your mobile device with TV everywhere. Over 60 channels currently available, including TV2, and the list is growing. Use the Service Electric app or go to sectv.com for details.
The first soccer ball was kicked in Bethlehem in 1904. Now, 112 years later, it's time for the rebirth of Bethlehem Steel FC. Herbert's in the box, and there's the first goal in Steel FC history. For tickets, visit BethlehemSteelFC.com or call 844-STEEL-FC.
It can happen over time or in a snap. If joint or muscle pain has taken you out of the game, we can identify the root cause of your problem and develop a sport-specific treatment plan to get you moving again. Over 400 medical experts strong, the region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Make it iced, then make it happen. With flavors like butter pecan or new coconut cream pie. It's America's iced coffee. Whenever, wherever. America runs on Dunkin'.
Back here at Family Day here at Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University, and at the end of the first 45 minutes, it is 0-0 as we are rolling through the halftime show here, as Bethlehem and Orlando City have not been able to find a breakthrough just yet. Earl Edwards Jr., the goalkeeper for OCB, doing a spectacular job, but we are going to step aside for another brief moment, and when we come back, we'll have highlights and stats.
We've raised the stakes. Expectations are high. Our biggest season yet will break records with elite players and future stars. Innovative technology and new homes. We're growing the game in our communities and across the nation. Are you ready?
Was the lucky number this week, as 44 goals found the back of the net, with 4 players scoring at least 2 goals in the 4th week of the USL season. Let's take a quick look back at each one.
Flip throw again and fires it into the box. Ball comes down, setting up a bicycle kick, and it's in!
Ball in for Valesky, the touch, and there's the finish.
Falls, the shot is in!
Fleming's cutting it back. Left-footed score! Silva on his left, playing it across. Dequa's header. William, top of the box, great turn. Bezecourt with the right. 87th minute, they take it early, wide open. Abidor.
Dos Santos, Sultanu off his line, shot from distance, and it's in.
Head toward the goal. And in! Come on, Bembo makes a move. Bembo! Bembo! The score!
As the pass is Williams.
Quick throw in though, and he's found Williams. Whoa, there's 3, it's a hat-trick!
Pushing forward from his defensive position.
Swings it in.
GB got a head on it.
Don't.
NFC Cincinnati. There, Harrison Delbridge is a big target. Up to GB. He shoots, and he scores! Here's a great opportunity. Corbin Bone into the box, across to GB, and a hat trick. Now it's Kenny Walker. And GB's calling for it. On to Walker, and GB has his fourth for the night.
Banjo on the run, has the angle, bang, side net.
Davis, left-footed strike, he puts it in!
The initial shot is saved, and then the follow-up.
Bends it in, right side to goal!
Glory, the shot, the save, the putback is in the net.
For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
Sara Lee Artisano. It's no ordinary bread. It's born from the question, what's next for sliced bread? And we quickly found the answer was an everyday artisan-style bread with wholesome, rich ingredients, as well as the soft texture you love, cut thick with a dash of flour dusting. Taste firsthand how Artisano turns even the simplest meals you make mouth-wateringly memorable. Sara Lee Artisano Bakery Bread. Make the routine remarkable.
Rothrock is where the cars are.
Rothrock's pre-owned outlet has been serving the Lehigh Valley for over 55 years. Our world-class facility offers premium vehicles, including hundreds of factory-certified pre-owned, next to new cars and trucks, factory-backed and warranted for 100,000 miles. A 125-point certified inspection assures security and peace of mind, and Rothrock pre-owned always means big savings, with vehicles starting at only $2,900. Over 300 vehicles in stock and ready to roll.
Rothrock, where the cars are.
The first soccer ball was kicked in Bethlehem in 1904. Now, 112 years later, it's time for the rebirth of Bethlehem Steel FC. Herbert's in the box, and there's the first goal in Steel FC history. For tickets, visit BethlehemSteelFC.com or call 844-STEEL-FC.
Back here at the half in Goodman Stadium on the campus of Lehigh University in beautiful Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Tyler Terrens along with Lee Gottfried as we are at the half, and nothing to report home just yet as far as the scoreline. We are tied up at 0-0, but there were plenty of opportunities in the first half as it is family day here at Goodman Stadium. They've seen a 0-0 first 45 minutes, but an entertaining one at that, Lee.
Yeah, certainly the field did seem to be a little bit tilted in the favor of Bethlehem Steel in the first 45 minutes of play.
Well, neither team were able to get on the scoreboard, but we did see some good action early on. OCB knocking on the door a couple times in the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, earlier on it was a very even game going back and forth. Both teams with some opportunities. Orlando had a pretty good start being on the road, but as the half went on, Bethlehem really did start to take control of this match.
Well, OCB playing their third game in 9 days, so you had to imagine that fatigue was going to set in at some point, and it started to in a big way as Bethlehem had a number of opportunities midway through the first half.
Yeah, Kone and Burke really having a lot of opportunities here. Here you see Epps with the cross, and that one just doesn't find anyone, and in the middle of those white jerseys, OCB is able to clear this off. Another opportunity here, Corey Burke, but again, I guess the story you could say is the man in goal, and Earl Edwards Jr. stopping numerous opportunities. Great little give and go here, and that one maybe just needed to be kicked a little bit sooner by Burke, who took it over to his left foot, and by that time Edwards was able to come out. And again, another opportunity.
And that was this time Sekou Kone, who was in on goal after a little bit of a broken play, Lee.
Yeah, it was, and at the other end, the bouncing ball there, and luckily Bethlehem able to clear this one away. One of the only chances early on, the little flick on there, and Zach Carroll unable to get onto the end of that one.
And this was another opportunity for Corey Burke, as Bethlehem had a number of corners, probably around 5 or 6. We'll take a look at the halftime stats in just a second, but they really weren't able to convert anything off the corners.
Yeah, they weren't there. Burke wanted to get over top of that one and get that down into the ground, as McCarthy is able to clear this one and get that one no problem coming out and grabbing that.
Well, we did have an injury in the first half, as it was Kevin Alston who ended up coming off. Scott Thompson replacing him in the 30th minute. And now we will take a look at the halftime stats. And the possession, a little bit surprising there, Lee?
Yeah, you know, it was back and forth a little bit early on, and I think it's just really been, Orlando City's possessed, but they've just had the bad giveaways that have really set up Bethlehem with some opportunities. And you see the shots on target and the shots, and yeah, really, OCB has not really challenged McCarthy whatsoever, and that's what I guess we're going to have to interesting to see what Anthony Poulos has to say with his club at the halftime to try to switch things up. But I do think taking care of the ball and being better in your defensive end has to be a big talking point for him. Just giving Bethlehem opportunities isn't what you want, especially on the road.
Well, they've been bypassing the midfield at times. Pierre Da Silva, Albert Dikwa have yet to get going for OCB. Again, McCarthy not having to do much work in goal for Bethlehem just yet. Hasn't had to make a save, but on the other side, Earl Edwards Jr. has really come off his line, closed in angles extremely. This game is 0-0 at the moment.
Yeah, he has been certainly one of the MVPs for OCB so far this season, and you don't want to put him in that position again and again and again, because sooner or later the other side is going to be able to put one in the goal, and that's certainly what Brendan Burke has to be preaching as well. Just keep it going, guys. Keep doing the same thing. You've created opportunities, and you'll get the opportunity in the second half and maybe get the goal.
And if you're Anthony Poulos on the other side, I mean, your team looked good in the first 5-10 minutes. You seem to have fresh legs, but the fatigue really seemed to set in. And we'll take a look at the upcoming matches for OCB. The beginning portion of the schedule has not been friendly to them. They have a tough match against a good St. Louis team who's coming off 2 losses on Thursday, but after that they get a bye week, and then that's a very difficult place to play at Nippert at Cincinnati.
Yeah, to go in to play in front of that crowd and on the turf is never easy there. Cincinnati, one of the top teams in the league, and then the good news is you get to come home for a couple of weeks.
And those next 2 games will be against Charlotte and Pittsburgh, but the road certainly doesn't get any easier. I guess it just means that they're going to be able to move home OCB, as they have played about half of their opening schedule on the road. They've played 7 games, including this one. Bethlehem on the other side, just 4. As we take a look at beautiful Goodman Stadium here at Lehigh University. Goodman also home to the Lehigh University Mountain Hawk football team. As you see the multiple lines here at Goodman Stadium, the soccer lines are in yellow and the football lines are in white. Not exactly football season just yet. Maybe some spring ball for the Mountain Hawks, but we have 45 minutes of the original football to settle here at Goodman Stadium, as Bethlehem getting ready to take the field for the second 45 minutes. And, you know, if just like you said, Lee, if you're Brendan Burke, there's not much that you can say. They've done a good job on the counter. They've had possession, and they've been in clear possession when they've had the ball, but it just seems to be that clinical finishing aspect, which we saw in the game against Cincinnati a few weeks ago when they were able to put 3 goals in, albeit a Cincinnati team that was down a man for a half. But there's not much that you're going to change if you're Brendan Burke.
No, there's not, and you just got to say more of the same, guys, and those opportunities, if you keep generating them time and time again, you're going to be rewarded by your tough work and your hard work. And certainly the only thing that they don't want is to walk away with all these opportunities and have it be a draw with all that work. You would deserve the 3 points if you continue this type of play.
Well, with the 3 saves that he made in the first half, Earl Edwards Jr. has moved into a tie for second place in the USL in saves. Now tied with Davala Goric of St. Louis. As Bethlehem already with the ball. Wijnaldum with a long-range strike, and that was going over the bar. Hit with a bit of sting, though.
I don't mind that at times, to be able to take that shot from distance. Obviously, he'd want to get it onto the face of goal and hit the target. He let that one boom because you never know what's going to happen if the keeper, if it is on the face of goal, if he's going to be able to handle it or where that rebound control is going to go. We've seen so many goals this season in the United Soccer League of bad rebounds, not being able to direct it either to the left or right or out of play, but right back into the field of play for somebody to pick up and tap in.
Defender Scott Thompson up for the header, who replaced the injured Kevin Alston at around the 30-minute mark in the first half. As McCarthy going to send this one back the other way. Thompson again trying to find Larea. Larea finding Rocha, but dispossessed. Corey Burke coming back to play defensive responsibilities, and Burke going to get called for the foul. And Corey Burke is hot as Richie Larea hits the deck, and looked to be a clean tackle from Corey Burke, and now he's going to get a yellow card. Not exactly sure for whether it was for the tackle or dissent, as he was certainly upset with head referee Henrik Carlson, and now head referee going to make sure that Larea can go on. But that looked like, for all in the world, a clean tackle from Corey Burke.
Yeah, it looked like it was timed well, and Larea here seems to be gesturing to his... Yeah, it's right there. That's
I guess
what
it's
it was.
I guess it's that forearm extension.
I saw him kind of holding his mouth, so that's the arm up is what the foul and the card is for.
And Burke probably would have won the ball. I mean, he probably has about 2 or 3 inches as well as 30 or 40 pounds on Larea, but just extending that off arm, I guess, like a young Jermaine O'Neal would in the NBA.
He had better positioning. He was on inside of the ball. He did not need to lift that arm up, because you're absolutely right that I think that he just continues his run and he's won that ball.
So instead of Bethlehem getting an opportunity to counter, it's OCB who has a set piece. Martin De Silva on top of it, trying to slip it through for Martin. Bethlehem reading it the entire way.
Yeah, that's a poorly executed free kick. You don't want to be doing that. That just looked like something that they may have drawn up in the practice book, but they didn't execute it well whatsoever.
Good play here from OCB in clear possession. In around one defender. An opportunity as it's back for Dikwa, and there's the goal. Beautiful strike from OCB, as it's Larea who gets the goal for Orlando City. Certainly against the run of play in the first half, but OCB come out swinging here in the second. 1-0 for the visitors.
Well, not only was that an outstanding finish by Larea, Tyler, it was the build-up to that play. They moved that ball with about 5 or 6 passes all the way up the pitch, and what a strike on the volley. He just powered right through that ball, and absolutely no chance there for John McCarthy, but what a turn of events early here in the second half. It looks like a different OCB team that came up the pitch, just perfectly moved up that field, put that ball out wide, got it back into the box, and a fantastic finish.
Well, OCB with their first shot on target all game, and it finds the back of the net as McCarthy could do nothing about it. And the first touch from Larea actually let him down, but it ended up sitting up so nicely for him, setting up that beautiful half volley.
Yeah, fantastic stuff, and you just got to see now how Bethlehem is going to react to that, because that is just like a big punch in the gut and you're not able to breathe, and it's going to take you a little bit to react because of the way they played. It's not a deserved result probably right now in their mind, being down 1-0. So we'll see how they can react, and also how Orlando City reacts, if they're going to keep their foot on the pedal or think that they can sit back and try to defend a 1-goal lead.
Well, they have the lead in the 51st minute, as it was a fantastic strike from Richie Larea. Credit Austin Martz with the assist. As OCB, like you said, Lee, looked like a completely different team than we saw in the first 45 minutes. I'm sure Anthony Poulos didn't have too many nice things to say about his team in the locker room.
Yeah, he might have ripped a strip off him, because you're seeing them now with much more pep in their step of the ball. They're running in, they're closing down Bethlehem immediately, and you see, you know what, yeah, sometimes it's going to end up in a foul and a free kick, but you don't want to give Bethlehem time on the ball, and they're either going to get a foul, a free kick, or they're going to cause a turnover and get one going on the counterattack. So certainly in the first 6 minutes of this second half, much better from OCB.
Aaron Jones trying to go back for Derek Jones. And then OCB operating just a bit too quickly on the counterattack, and the referee on the far side does have his flag up.
Some cautious defending there by OCB. I'm not sure if that needed to be headed out for a corner kick from that position, but this is a great opportunity now for Bethlehem to try to get back into it.
Najim on top of the corner. Doesn't get past Martz as Aaron Jones bringing it down and going all the way back, and it'll go even further back to John McCarthy. Good distribution from the keeper. Finding Najim in space. Najim putting the brakes on. Marcus Epps showing a bit too much of it to Austin Martz as he plays it up the sideline for Dikwa. Dikwa trying to find the goal scorer, Larea. Burke with the service, and it was a good tackle, as it had to be. A couple of different Bethlehem players looming in the area, as it was Connor Donovan who came on at the half.
I think it's fortunate for Donovan that he didn't get any more of this, because it could have been in the back of his own net.
And there's another save from Edwards Jr., who is responsible for the goose egg on the Bethlehem side of things, and just giving his team enough chance to find a goal, as there was the header from Sekou Kone, and Edwards Jr. able to handle that relatively cleanly. And now Derek Jones going to get a talking to from referee Henrik Carlson. And we have not called Derek Jones' name all that much, although he is a bit more of a piano lifter in the middle of the field rather than a piano player, doing all that dirty work behind, you know, the attacking 4 or 5 or wherever you want to call it, as he's been responsible for breaking up play and sort of starting the counterattack on the other end.
Yeah, he actually got into games with the Philadelphia Union in preseason, played at Al Lang Stadium in the Suncoast Invitational Tournament against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and he did score a goal in that game for Philadelphia to win.
Hugh Roberts called back, playing the ball a little bit too quickly, or it looked like it was moving while he was playing it, forcing Carlson to bring it back. Hugh Roberts, a very interesting story for this Bethlehem team, as he's sort of been asked to play in positions that he's not exactly familiar with. He was a Defensive Player of the Year finalist a year ago. That award ended up going to Aaron Long of New York Red Bulls 2, who also had the services of Zach Carroll on the back line. So it just goes to show how deep they were defensively, and plays to the old adage of defense wins championships. But Roberts now obviously with Bethlehem and with the Union, and getting a start here at center back, which is his natural position. He was actually recruited originally to play basketball in college, and as well as has a black belt in karate. So this is an extremely athletic young man, and he is more than capable of playing whatever position that the Union or the Steel may need him to play. But he is just an unbelievable athlete and can do so many different things for this club, and he needs to, because with the revolving door that is this team, you know, there's just going to be so many different vacancies week in and week out.
I wouldn't want to be the person to tell him, no, you're going to play in this position today. I think, you know, you got a black belt in karate. He's going to be like, no, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to play today, and you're not going to mess with me.
Well, I highly doubt that that's how the conversations are going with Jim Curtin and Brendan Burke, but we never know. Orlando City with the 1-0 lead. Richie Larrea, the goal scorer in the 50th minute. Well against the run of play, as Bethlehem had a couple of point-blank opportunities in the first half. Earl Edwards Jr. keeping it at 0-0, heading into the halftime whistle, and then OCB come out swinging here in the second half. It was an extremely well-worked goal, as here's Pierre Da Silva skipping away from Derek Jones. Now it's ahead for Dikwa in a foot race with Trusty. Trusty able to win it. And OCB looking to operate quickly in Bethlehem's defensive third. And it is going to be a handball on Wijnaldum on the far side of the pitch. Another opportunity here for OCB, and give credit to OCB and Anthony Poulos even further, just because of the way that we saw them play in the first half. Manager makes a substitution, a couple of changes here and there, and it just looks like a completely different squad. And also, I think even furthermore is Earl Edwards Jr. for keeping it a 0-0 game and giving his team an opportunity to come out in the second half like this.
Yeah, if a couple goals are scored, they just might want to pack up and get ready to get on that flight to come back to Orlando. But instead, they keeps them in the game, like you said, and it has been a tale of two halves right now, because this has been all Orlando this time, pushing forward, being the faster team, and really pushing Bethlehem. And Bethlehem now are in the position where they've been defending a lot more in this second half.
Da Silva on top of the free kick. In the area is Donovan, but there is a inadvertent tackle from Hugh Roberts, as he was able to get a piece of it with some part of his body. Not out of the woods yet. Scott Thompson sending it back into the area. Off his line is McCarthy, and he's able to handle it. And offering some love taps for Albert Dikwa along with Richie Larrea along the way. Timbo. Bit of an erratic first touch, but ends up handling it relatively cleanly. Good step from Neal. Roche linking up. Larrea with another strike, and McCarthy forced to make his first save of the afternoon, if you can believe that. There's only been one shot on target up until this point. It found the back of the net, and McCarthy making his first save.
Not bad there at all by Larrea. He saw that the defenders for Bethlehem were not going to close him down, so he had a couple of steps to take, and he waited till he got just outside the top of the box and thought he'd let one rip, but wasn't able to get that to the left or the right of McCarthy, and a good positioning there. And I'm sure McCarthy's happy to get that first save off of a shot, just because he didn't have much work to do as far as just catching balls off of corner kicks and picking up balls and redistributing them.
Here's Da Silva coming a ways back to come get the ball. Da Silva trying to bend it around Hugh Roberts, but those cat-like reflexes, sticking out a foot and controlling possession for Bethlehem. Corey Burke looking for an option. Finding one with Derek Jones, as he's wrong-footed a little bit. And it's Dikwa who is offsides. The referee on the far side had his flag up.
That's tough there, because on that turnover there was a lot of space and there was options to the left and the right. That was really 4v3.
Here's Herber slipping it through for Burke. He needs to try to keep it in, but the pass from the German just a bit too far for the Jamaican international. And it'll go right back to OCB. And you know, Lee, going back to the first half, it's difficult for a team to get those point-blank opportunities, not convert, and then still be able to come out with that much intensity in the second half, because it's almost as if you've had your best chances of the game, you haven't been able to convert, and an athlete's mentality may be, okay, where do we go from here?
Yeah, you can't let that frustration set in. It's difficult to say it and to be able to actually do it, and that's where the coaching comes in, to be able to keep your team positive at the halftime and be able to keep playing. But certainly it does appear that Orlando City say, hey guys, it's still 0-0 at half. We're still in this despite the fact they got the chances. Let's come out and do something here in the second.
Well, here's a neat little counterattack from Bethlehem, but just a bit too over-anxious was Sekou Kone, who was looking to find Marcus Epps, and that was a flat-out 3v2. I mean, you're a hockey guy. That was an odd man rush for Bethlehem.
Yeah, and sometimes it just doesn't bounce for you the right way when you're just that one touch away from really making a good play. And that's where we talk about, again, that frustration, and you could see it there.
Here's Larea again, already has 1 goal to his name, taken down right outside of the box, and it will be a dangerous set-piece opportunity for OCB. Albert Dikwa thinking that he scored a goal, but the referee did blow his whistle beforehand. And now we'll just have to wait and find out who is going to be the man who has the opportunity at the top of the box. It looks like Richie Larea who's on top of it.
Well, he's had the hot leg so far in this second half with the goal and another shot from distance. As we take another look at this one here, and it is Roberts that just gets the elbow in the back of Larea. Not a difficult call there from Carlson.
Tricky footwork again from Larea. He was the beneficiary of a great buildup before, but now showing off his individual skill. And it results in a very dangerous opportunity. And this is almost that perfect distance from the goalie, because sometimes it's right on top of the box. There's not enough room to get it up and down over the wall. But this seems to be a great distance for De Silva or Martz to be able to have a crack at it.
Yeah, you want to have that wall right so McCarthy can be in good position here depending on where it comes over.
It's De Silva. It's around the wall, and it forces a good save from McCarthy. But here's De Silva getting on the rebound, sliding it across to Roberts with a deflection. OCB claiming for a handball. They're not going to get it. It'll be a corner for Orlando City B, who continue to ask questions of this Bethlehem back line.
Oh, wow, that was just a terrible mistake there on Bethlehem on the clearance. And it was an easy one for De Silva to come and pick up and try to send back in the box, and close to see if it was going off of the arm. But De Silva getting the corner kick instead.
Pierre De Silva leading the league with 4 assists this season so far. As the referee tending to some extracurricular activities in the box, it always can get a little bit physical as teams try to position themselves for set pieces and whatnot. And we'll take another look at this De Silva chance, and an apparent handball from Hugh Roberts.
Very close there. I don't think it was ball to hand. It was not in an abnormal position. He wasn't trying to block the ball. It was inadvertent contact, so the referee not making the call. But it was Derek Jones who slipped there, unfortunately, and that's what allowed De Silva to be able to get up and have a lot of space and time in the box.
Speaking of space, Marcus Epp running out of it, and it will be a throw-in for Bethlehem, who seem to operate from defense to offense in blink of an eye. Kone dealing with 3 OCB defenders. Falls to Najim, but we will have a foul. "20 minutes gone by here in the second half. Richie Larea, your goal scorer by way of Austin Martz. A fantastic buildup from OCB, leading to a goal against the run of play, as Bethlehem had a number of point-blank opportunities, but Earl Edwards Jr. doing a good job of keeping his team in the game. And it proved to be just enough at the moment. Richie Larea securing 3 points for OCB if the score holds this way, and it would be a very nice ending to what seems like have been a very long road trip for this OCB team, who's now playing their 7th game of the season. Bethlehem just having played 4. And what a sweet way it would be to head back home to Orlando with 3 points against a very solid Bethlehem team, and more so even on a more macro level. Talking to Brendan Burke, he said that this really is Philadelphia Union versus the Orlando City first team, and it's a great look for these coaches and for these programs to be able to see what the competition looks like for more affiliated clubs.
Yeah, and at this point now, with 25 minutes, just under 25 minutes left to play, and Brendan Burke yet to make a substitution in this match. At what point will he do that, and what will he do tactically to try to get something going? Will he take those chances? Will he take off a holding midfielder, bring on a more offensive-minded player to try to open things up and try to get things going once again for Bethlehem, who don't look like the same team that they were in the first 45 minutes of play?
It's good build up here as the 1-2 for Epps being deflected out of bounds. Now here is Marcus Epps getting around the first defender, still with it. It falls to Corey Burke. Burke with the left-footed shot, and it just whizzes by the left post. Good opportunity for the Jamaican, but still 1-0 for OCB.
Yeah, it looked like the referee was close to calling the foul there, but played advantage for Burke, who got that pass, but just knocks that one to the right of Edwards Jr.
Edwards Jr. now tied for second in the USL in saves after making 3 huge ones in the first half. Has also made a 4th in the second, so he may even be tied for first place at this point. Obviously one of the better goalkeepers in this league as Dikwa is offsides. The referee on the far side has his flag up.
That's a couple times that Dikwa has mistimed his run there, but it's the opportunities, and you know what, if he didn't, and he probably didn't have to there, he had the defender beat. That was a good ball forward, and it could have been another goal scoring opportunity here. So as this game goes on, Orlando City continue to come on in this match.
Here's Epps with some space to gallop into. There's an overlapping Aaron Jones, and that's who he chooses. The Englishman trying to split 2 defenders. Good defending from Thompson, but it falls to Najim. And we have a foul coming the other way, and it's going to be a yellow card for Aaron Jones. Marcus Epps trying to plead his case for his comrade, but referee Henrik Carlson making the call. We'll take another look at it.
He got around the first player, and a lot of the time you don't see the offensive player. He looked like he had possession of the ball, end up getting the foul, but it was a fast play. He lost possession and took the legs out there, and in the eyes of Henrik Carlson, that is a booking.
Dikwa up for the header. To Silva trying to bring it down.
Not sure I have to agree. It's a yellow card, certainly a stoppage and a free kick. It's a little harsh to be a booking.
Morea finding Rocha. Rocha still on it. Finding the goal scorer, Larea. Larea going for the curler, but curling into the hands of John McCarthy. But a good idea from Richie Larea, who has been all over the pitch here in the second half.
Yeah, right idea. He didn't have a lot on that one, but he really did use the defender of Bethlehem as a bit of a screen, hoping that McCarthy wouldn't pick up on it quick enough to be able to curl that around the outside and find that space by the back post.
Najim finding Wijnaldum outside. And here's Derek Jones. Wijnaldum with a bit too much. And Richie Larea going down. And now Wijnaldum called for the foul. A bit of frustration from the youngster as he gave up possession of the ball, and also a professional foul, just trying to prevent the counterattack. And I think that the referee, Henrik Carlson, recognizing that and going back to book the Dutchman.
Yeah, I think it could have happened twice. And on the second foul there by Wijnaldum, this time he is booked. So things getting a little more feisty here in the second half. It's going to be a very interesting last 20 minutes of play and stoppage time to see if Bethlehem can battle back here. Right now, they're going to want to, at minimum, salvage a point here at home.
Well, Orlando City coming off that dramatic late equalizer against Harrisburg City, looking for any sort of way to have a nice plane ride home back to Orlando following this 3-game road trip. Bethlehem on the other side had a very tough loss to also Harrisburg City, trying to get 3 points at home. As it will be a goal kick coming for John McCarthy. Sent ahead for Dikwa. Slipping it through for Larea. 1v1 with Trusty. Larea with the strike, and Larea with the goal. It's a brace for Richie Larea. It's 2-0 for OCB.
Well, just way too much space there. Bethlehem giving OCB, and Dikwa with the ball and just pushing it out to the right to Richie Larea, and what a strike, a bullet across the face of the goal. And you see Dikwa here just pushing it out easily, and Larea with a lot of space. He's got to get closed down there. Austin Trusty giving him 3 feet, and it is a great strike by Larea in the 72nd minute of play. And wow, what a turn of events here in the second half, and what a great second 45 so far by that man, Richie Larea. And to give OCB a 2-0 lead.
Richie Larea was originally a first-teamer for Orlando City, but loaned out to OCB for the season, and he has really become a dynamic player up top for Anthony Poulos, and they have been starving for offense. It was Zach Carroll who actually had the equalizer against Harrisburg City, so it wasn't even an attacker who had the goal in that game. And towards the tail end of a road trip, you need your strikers to be clinical, and Richie Larea has been everything and all bit of that today against Bethlehem. And you saw the reaction from John McCarthy afterwards, and just like you said, somebody needed to close down Larea. Just way too much space for a striker of that caliber to be able to have, and McCarthy was absolutely livid with his back line.
Yeah, and rightly so, because there's not much the keeper could do on a strike like that. You give, like you said, a player of that caliber time and space, and 9 times out of 10 he's going to put it into the back of the net. So that's absolutely something that we saw Orlando City B doing in the first half, not closing down, giving Bethlehem too much space. And you know, maybe it's just this side of the pitch that seems to be tilted in that direction. Whoever's going that way from right to left in this second half, it's now all favor of OCB, and now just a massive hole for Bethlehem Steel to climb out of to try to get a point at home. But what a great way this would be for Anthony Poulos' side to end that 3-game road swing, to be able to walk away with 3 points heading back home.
Well, it's almost a catch-22 for Brendan Burke, because when we were talking to him, he was just saying how he would love his team to be able to start a game well rather than having to work their way into it and find a rhythm. And you have Bethlehem, who came into today, they were firing on all cylinders at the beginning of the game and now falling apart at the end. They weren't able to convert when they were playing well at the beginning, and now it's come back to bite them in the rear end, but still plenty of time for a comeback. As here's Najim finding Epps, trying to square it back across for Najim. Falls to Kone. Kone with a strike, and there's another diving stop from Edwards Jr. And it'll be a goal kick for OCB. What another huge save from Edwards Jr. Full stretch.
Absolutely fantastic save as we see this ball go back to the top of the box. And Kone making the turn and absolutely diving out to his left, getting his left hand on that one and pushing it out so there's no rebound as well, just never giving up on that play. And fantastic play and goal by Edwards Jr.
Well, the referee actually might have gotten the goal kick call wrong, because it was Edwards Jr. who was blatantly punching it out of bounds. Kone was in the area trying to possibly keep it inbounds, but Edwards Jr., he kept them in the game in the first half, and now denying Bethlehem yet again here in the 75th minute. As the Steel Strikers do not have an answer for the man between the sticks for OCB, Earl Edwards Jr. again, continuing to climb the list in saves in the USL. Most certainly at number 1 at the moment.
And still a little bit surprised with less than 15 minutes in stoppage in the game that Brendan Burke has not decided to make some sort of change, bringing in a substitute, or at the very least tactically, you know, switching things up. You're down by 2, but you go 3 at the back and try to get something forward. I know you're going to leave yourself susceptible on the counterattack to yet another goal, but you have to take that gamble, I think, at this point in time, to at least get 1 right now to get back into the match.
Well, OCB looking for a third, as there's a long-range effort from De Silva. It was right at McCarthy, but hit with enough pace where McCarthy couldn't handle it cleanly. Almost a miscue there from Roberts. It ends up being a turnover at the end, but Najim doing well to atone for the back line sins, as this one sent all the way towards Kone. Earl Edwards Jr. off his line, and with a poised touch, finding his midfielders, and now being sprayed across for De Silva. Jones up strong for the header. Back for Aaron Jones. Now here's Corey Burke, trying to find Najim, but just the final third piece has not been here for Bethlehem in the second half. Thompson. Sent forward towards Dikwa. Scott Thompson with some neat footwork to spring himself away from Epps. And OCB oozing with confidence now after the Richie Larea brace, and just seem to be in clear control of this match at the moment.
Yeah, they're happy now to see this one out, not take any big chances, make any mistakes, to leave yourself open at the back. So they're looking right now just to play keep away, but if they get something, they're still able to turn this one on, as Bethlehem seem to be giving them a lot of space.
Martz puts it on his left foot, and there's a diving stop from McCarthy. It needed to be, or it would have been lights out for Bethlehem. John McCarthy livid with his back line, but making a fantastic save to keep it 2-0.
Yeah, almost an identical replay of Larea's goal, as Austin Martz does the exact same thing. No one closes him down. He cuts in at the top of the box and has a goal with his left foot. This time, though, John McCarthy able to get a hand on it and make an outstanding save.
First big opportunity for McCarthy to get a save in, as the corner kick going over everybody's head. And now Marcus Epps using his pace on the far side. Epps slipping it through for Herbers. And it's Edwards Jr. who's off his line, and he has really looked solid from all facets of the game. Obviously the shot stopping is what's eye candy to the casual fan, but his control of his back line, the communication seems to be there, as well as confidence coming off his line.
Yeah, all facets of the game have been there. You can tick every one of those boxes, like you said, and that has to give Anthony Poulos, you know, when you're looking forward and you're trying to build a team and you've got inconsistencies in your starting 11 almost week in and week out, that you've got one guy that you can count on as you can work on those other aspects of the game.
So it's Herbers and Aaron Jones who come off for Bethlehem.
Now entering the match, number 38, Sante Moore.
And it's going to be Sante Moore. Scored his first career goal against Harrisburg a few days ago. Najim trying to go for the flick, but Timbo right there. Roberts trying everything he can to keep it in bounds, but Bethlehem seemingly running out of gas here in the 80th minute. They threw everything they had at OCB in the first 45 minutes, but Edwards Jr. kept them in the game. Richie Larea with a goal in the 50th minute. And then about another goal midway through the second half, and that's where we stand at the moment. Najim did well to hang on to it, as did Epps.
Now you see that long ball over the top by Bethlehem, and that's gonna be a foul, possibly a card, because he was wide open.
Absolutely. Derek Jones with a professional foul, just trying to hold up the counterattack. He knew exactly what he was doing, and now Pierre De Silva on the ground. Hopefully nothing too serious for De Silva, but Derek Jones
Yeah, and that's just out of frustration there, and that's all because Bethlehem puts a long ball over the top and not going anywhere, and Edwards plays that ball back in, and there's a lot of space up that midfield, and Jones just says, I'm going to stop this one right now. Najim okay though, and will take this free kick.
Mark sending it back in. De Silva bringing it down. And it will be a handball on Pierre De Silva. Almost into the 83rd minute here in the Lehigh Valley. Home side, we're off to a rip-roaring start, but could not find the breakthrough. And OCB weathered the storm, and then it was Richie Larea with a brace here in the second half. And it's been all OCB ever since, as Bethlehem still trying to find a breakthrough here. Epps finding Corey Burke. Now for Najim, the New Jersey native, trying to line it up, and there was Joseph Samuel just about an inch or two out of his reach. It was a good idea from Najim.
Yeah, great little ball over the top, but that just seems to be the story of this game for Bethlehem right now. Just one step away from being able to put something into the back of the net or have a clear-cut scoring opportunity.
Moar just trying to take Route 1 and find the big body of Corey Burke, but not getting there as Bethlehem clear desperation mode at the moment. Samuel trying to slip it through for Burke. Couple defenders there for OCB. As the visitors may be looking to put the icing on the cake, as Dikwa had a step on the ball, but good job from Trusty on the right side of him.
Yeah, you can see now the numbers that Bethlehem are pushing for. They've only got 3 at the back now. They have to do that. They have to basically throw caution into the wind just to try to get one here. Would be something to give them a chance in the last 5-6 minutes plus stoppage, but they can't mess around. They're gonna have to start going pretty direct.
Corey Burke trying to find Kone. Santi Moar will get there. Moar with a neat little back heel, finding Joseph Samuel. Samuel trying to get on the right side. And Ellis Hayden, who's doing a good job shielding the ball. And it will be a Bethlehem throw-in. Ellis Hayden clearly not exactly a fan of the call.
A great battle there, though. Certainly like to see that Carlson didn't blow a whistle for a foul on either person. Just a battle 50-50, see who could win that one.
And you can see the two contrasting styles at the moment. Bethlehem sending everybody forward, OCB using all 11 to defend, leaving plenty of space for John McCarthy to be able to play the ball back in. Burke finding Derek Jones. And there is a very strong tackle from Lewis Neal, pointed directly at the ball, saying, that's what I got. And now Dikwa on the other end. Dikwa waiting for the cavalry to arrive. Lewis Neal lining it up with the shot, and another diving stop from McCarthy. It could be 3 or 4-0, but that man has kept them out of the goal late here in the second half. It'll be a corner for OCB.
Yeah, that all started by that fantastic challenge to send OCB in on the counterattack. And yeah, just another great diving save to his right. Just getting the fingertips on it is John McCarthy, or it would be 3-0 right now for Orlando City B.
Into the 86th minute, Richie Larea's brace at the moment the difference. As OCB looking to end this long road trip, 3 games in 9 days on a high note. And it's looking that way. Neal dispossessed by Epps. Bethlehem just trying to get one and then see what happens after that, but it's getting that first one that's extremely difficult. Referee calling a handball on Ellis Hayden. It'll be a set piece for Bethlehem. And the referee now showing a yellow card to Ellis Hayden for time wasting. As I'm sure we haven't seen the last of that in the 87th minute. Orlando City doing everything they can to hold on to this lead. Bethlehem in scramble mode. As it'll be Wijnaldum on top of the free kick for Bethlehem. It's a floated ball towards the mixer. Schweitzer with the initial ball. Najim back into the box. There's the New Jersey native Scott Thompson getting the initial clearance and now sent along the sideline for Dikwa, but only as far as Derek Jones. Samuel just looping it back into the area, and there's a bit of a naughty challenge from Sekou Kone. He was certainly late, and it did not look pretty as Ellis Hayden on the ground and asking for assistance at the moment. And this game's certainly starting to get chippy. Bethlehem obviously not thrilled with Orlando coming into their own stadium and putting two on them in the second half, as well as coming off a loss to Harrisburg City, so you can understand the frustration on Bethlehem's side.
He seems to be all right, and Kone goes into the book for that. So the frustration setting in here late is it's a combination of things, not being able to finish, not being able to get those passes forward and get some clear-cut opportunities, and when they have, Earl Edwards Jr. has always answered the task, coming up with some great saves in this one.
De Silva doing a good job defensively, holding off Marcus Epps. And it'll go towards OCB. And, you know, it's interesting for Bethlehem because their chances in the first half were mainly coming off of OCB mistakes. They didn't have this nice little buildup that OCB had for their first goal. And even for the second goal, there was some decent passing as well. But Bethlehem, even though they were on the front foot in the first half, they weren't having clear-cut chances and, you know, chances that were built on their own.
Yeah, no, it was either a header off of a corner kick that really didn't get much on it, or a giveaway, like you said, by OCB, but it wasn't a build-up play, a couple of nice passes, and a shot that Edwards had to deal with. And it was something that was just a quick giveaway and a turnover. Edwards able to react, come off of his line, make himself big, good positioning, and make the saves, but it wasn't creation, you're right, by Bethlehem to be able to find themselves in great goal-scoring opportunities, where Orlando City B's goals were directly from a good build-up, good movement, good play, and fantastic finishes.
And I'm sure that was a point of Anthony Poulos at halftime saying, listen, we have not played well. We've given them opportunities. Our goalkeeper's been terrific, standing on his head. And now let's go out and let's play proper football in the second half. And that's exactly what they've done. So fantastic response and great resiliency, which is something that you love to see in the sport.
Yeah, they definitely turned it around. They have limited the giveaways and just the poor defensive plays massively in this second half, and have been able to turn it up offensively. They have exploited the space in the midfield from Bethlehem and been able to play a nice brand of football in the second half. That first goal was just the way that you would write that up, the 6-7 passes throughout the midfield and the great finish. That's how you want to play the game all the time.
And we're not getting word from the fourth official. It will be 3 minutes of extra time. Dikwa trying to find Lorea, who's sitting on a hat trick. Dikwa with the turnover. Dikwa still with it, taking a big touch towards the byline. McCarthy keeping it in bounds and collecting the ball in one motion. As OCB continuing to wreak havoc on this Bethlehem back line.
Dikwa maybe holding on to it just a little bit too much there. Should have tried to poke it across the face of the goal a little bit early. And McCarthy's able to come over and be able to grab that before anything could be done with that one. So Bethlehem lucky that it's not 3 at this moment, or even more, because McCarthy's made a couple of good saves this second half himself.
Najim dancing on the initial defender. Poke back down to Wijnaldum. Sending it towards the box. Burke bringing it down. hitting Santi Moar right in the face. Here's Moar. Now wide for Epps. Samuel running with him. Epps putting it on the left foot, going for the curler, but always curling it wide. And that's sort of been the story for Bethlehem along these 90 minutes.
The right idea there by Epps, but you could tell from the moment that left his left foot that was not going to be able to curl around nearly enough to that back post to be able to find that side netting or to beat Edwards.
And certainly give that man a lot of credit, Earl Edwards Jr., for this performance, and it would not for him in the first half. Orlando City B would not have been in the opportunity or in the position to make this run here in the second 45 minutes. They have been brilliant offensively in the second, but they were disastrous at the back in the first 45 minutes, as now Bethlehem turning the ball over again, and OCB just looking to see this one out.
Lorea was putting his arms out there, motioning on that cutback that he wanted that ball, looking for the hat trick in this game before it finishes up.
A defender slips, maybe an opportunity for Bethlehem to get one back. Here's the strike, as Moar sending it out for a goal kick.
He got well underneath that one. At this point in time, I don't blame him for trying to take the shot. He did have the option of Epps over to his right-hand side.
Well, despite the scoreline, the East End Army has certainly been not exactly full force, but has been with them every step of the way thus far. Great fan base here in Bethlehem supporting their squad, who put in a solid shift today, but OCB just able to cash in on what few opportunities they have made, as Corey Burke getting around a couple defenders, shrugging off Ellis Hayden. Trying to slip it through for Samuel, and that's going to do it here from Bethlehem. The final score at Goodman Stadium, 2-0 in favor of OCB. They end the long road trip, 3 games in 9 days, on a very high and sweet note, a 2-0 win over the Bethlehem Steel. Richie Lorea with the brace. He was magnificent inside of the penalty area. Clinical finishing and solid defending, as well as fantastic goalkeeping from Earl Edwards Jr., all resulting in 3 points for Orlando City B. Their first 3 points since a win over TFC2 a few weeks ago. The final score again here from Goodman Stadium, 2-0. We'll be back with halftime, or rather full-time stats and highlights when we come back.
Tickets, visit PhiladelphiaUnion.com.
Quakertown Farmers Market, bargains are our business.
Quakertown Farmers Market and Flea Market, now even fresher with new ownership committed to the same service and value generations of shoppers have enjoyed. We strive to offer more value for your buck. Quakertown Farmers Market, open year-round, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Check out our bargains and specials on the web at itsfresherhere.com or like us on Facebook.
It can happen over time or in a snap. If joint or muscle pain has taken you out of the game, we can identify the root cause of your problem and develop a sport-specific treatment plan to get you moving again. Over 400 medical experts strong, the region's only nationally ranked program. That's Orthopedics in Action at Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Back here at Goodman Stadium, full time at OCB, coming away with a 2-0 win. Pierre Da Silva offering thanks to the fans from Orlando City who traveled all this way to see them get 3 points on the tail end of their road trip. And on the other end, the Bethlehem Steel fans not exactly thrilled with the result, but it's always fun when it's football. And we had a blast. We hope you did too. Tyler Terrens along with Lee Godfrey. And Lee, really a tale of two halves. OCB came out swinging at the get-go, but then it was Bethlehem who started to find their rhythm, but just couldn't find the back of the net.
Yeah, it was. Originally, both teams up to a good start, but it was, you're right, as you see, it was Earl Edwards Jr. really coming to the call in this first half for Bethlehem, who really took control of this game. Some great 1-2 passing and just that inability to finish. There's Corey Burke there not being able to put that one away as Edwards comes out and makes a great save.
And John McCarthy was certainly solid for Bethlehem on the other end. His saves really wouldn't come until the second half, but this Bethlehem team, you know, they threw their toughest punches here in the first half, and when you don't find the goal like that, it can be really difficult to get back into the game. And here's OCB capitalizing on an opportunity.
Yeah, Richie Larea on a fantastic strike there. It doesn't fall to him nicely, but he makes a great recovery with that right boot and just rockets it in, and a great build-up to that play as well, leading up to that goal.
And Bethlehem would have a couple of opportunities here in the second half, but really never threatened Earl Edwards Jr. There was a couple of plays here and there, but you know, the back line for OCB really tightened things up in the second half.
Yeah, that ball there is not going to threaten at all. And again, there is Larea looking for another goal just off the screen coming in, not getting enough of it on the curl, and that one falls pretty easily to McCarthy. But then there is his second goal. Again, you see McCarthy just screaming at his back four for not closing down Larea. He had one earlier, and it's almost a carbon copy of the same goal, just rocketing that in for his second of the night.
Richie Larea would finish with the brace, and those would be the two goals. And here's another spectacular save from Edwards Jr., and that was probably the best opportunity for Bethlehem in the second half.
Yeah, it was. Again, though, controlled well by Edwards, and he doesn't give up on the play either.
And we will take a look at some of the full-time stats, as obviously the biggest and the most important one up top, goals 2-0, OCB coming away with 3 points, but a relatively even game other than that, obviously with the tale of two halves, but just one team able to finish when they needed to.
Yeah, and the shots on target really changed, I think, for obviously Orlando City B in that second half, where they were being outshot in the first 45 minutes of play. And, you know, corner kicks not being able to take advantage of by Bethlehem Steel in that first half hurt them, but a fantastic result on the road for Orlando City B.
OCB coming away with 3 points to finish off the road trip, as it's all smiles on the OCB part of things. Not exactly the same for Bethlehem, but either way, we had an absolute blast calling the game. We hope you had fun watching the game as OCB come away with the W, their first 3 points since the win against TFC. It was an absolute blast here at Goodman Stadium. Lots of fun, lots of smiles, a couple of goals as well. The visitors come away with the 3 points. For everybody here at the USL, I'm Tyler Terrence signing off for Lee Godfrey, saying thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.